Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, in last class, I think we discussed about vendor creations, right? Vendor group used to create by consultant, and vendor masters or individual vendors will be created by end users, right? So, vendor group, here I am going to create 3 groups like domestic, import and domestic and one-time account group will create. And as a end users, they used to create the vendor masters. End users will create vendor. End users will create vendor master records. While creating vendor group, will come with, or we are going to interface with many fields like this in general data, company code data and purchasing data. So, in general data, we are going to input all the basic informations regarding vendors. Then in company code data, reconciliation account and cash management, terms of payments, tolerance group. So, all these things we are going to maintain in in company code data, and these things are these fields I explained. And in purchase data, currency, terms of payments and international commercial terms, all these things we discussed, right? And in group, we are going to control the field status in vendor master record. So, this is a controls, like we can maintain any fields hide, or we can maintain any fields in required entry, any fields in optional entry, or in any fields in display mode, right? And vendor will be created by in finance. Vendor will be created in finance department as well as department. In finance, they used to create vendor by using T code FK01. There they are going to use general data and company code data, and in general data and purchasing data is there. The T code is MK01. By using MK01, they used to create the vendor master. Okay, and we can have one more option for centralized vendor creation. There we are going to use general data, company code data and purchasing data. The vendors which we created in FK01, that will be limited to finance department, and vendors which we created in MK01, that will be limited to department, and vendors which we create in XK01, this is centralized, that can be used in any department. So, regarding configurations, as I told you, we are going to create 3 groups like domestic vendor group, import vendor group and one-time vendor group. And of that, number ranges we can create. Number ranges means while creating vendor, we can give the ranges. Ranges mean if I am going to create the vendor in domestic group, then ranges to start with 7 series. It is not mandatory. On the basis of client's requirement, we can give the numbers here. Then we are having 2 types of number range creations, like internal number ranges and external number ranges. Internal number ranges which we create by consultant, system will take that number ranges automatically while creating vendors. And external number ranges which created by consultant, system will not take that number ranges automatically. While creating vendor, end user need to give the number range manually. Okay. The third configuration is I need to assign that number ranges to vendor account group. So, this number ranges I need to assign to this vendor group. Then by using that vendor groups, end user used to create the vendors. Here we are going to create vendors in MK01 and as well as XK01. If you want to modify any vendors, then go with XK02 or MK02, and if you want to display the vendor master record, go to MK03 or XK03. Okay, so we will configure one by one in the system. So, I will go into system. Okay, this vendor group creations can be created in financial accounting as well as logistics. First, we will go with financial accounting, then I will show how to create vendor group in logistics part also. So, I will come to IMG level, financial accounting, as we are having 2 financial accounting here. but I'll go with first one, financial accounting classic or financial accounting old version. Then go to account receivable and accounts payable, the third option. Then here go to vendor accounts, go to vendor accounts, go to master data and go to preparation for creating vendor master data, and here we are having the options to create the vendor group. So first one is define account group with screen layout. T code is OBD3. Click on that, you get screen like this. There click on new entries, click on new entry. Here input the number account group as RPDV. RP means RPL is my company code. From that company code I took 2 characters. First 2 characters will indicate company code, third and fourth character will indicate what are the things we are creating. DV means domestic vendor here. And I'll give the description, domestic vendor group for my company code RPL. So this is my company code, and I'm not supposed to select this one time account, because I'm not creating a regular group. So here, as I told you, we are having 3 field statuses, right? We are having 3 field statuses: general data, company code data, and purchasing data, right? 3 field statuses. So first double click on general data, and under general data we are having 5 groups: address, communication, control, payment transaction, and contact person. First we'll double click on address. So there we are having so many fields like name, forum of address, search term, name 2, name 3, name 4, like that, right? So all fields are in optional entry. This is a control, as we discussed in our previous class. This is the controls where we can see here. This is a control. All fields are in optional entry. So on the basis of your requirement, you can change. Say, if I'm going to select name 1 as a suppress, what will happen? While creating vendor, this field is get hidden. This field is get hidden. So, or else better go with optional entry. Optional entry means if you are having the data, you can input, otherwise you can skip the data. And here I am going to select name 1 as required entry. Why? Because without name of vendor it is not good to see, right? That's the reason what while creating vendor, end user must and should input the name of vendor. So here I am going to select name 1 as required entry, and rest of that fields I am not going to change anything. It will be in optional entry only. So I am not going to change anything. Status will be in optional entry only. But name 1 I'll use required entry, or I'll select required entry. Then click on next group. See, this is a next group button. Again, next group is communication. There again we are having so many fields again, like telefax, telebox, data line, language, standard communication method, internet address, mail address, mobile phone, everything is there. So again, all these fields are in optional entry. On the basis of your requirement, you can change. Sometimes what will happen in real time, we should maintain the vendor number, then you can select it as a mobile number as a required entry, internet address, email address, or email address, like that. You need to maintain the fields as required entry. On that basis, end user will fill that requirement. But here in practice, I am not going to select required entry, because if I am not having that data with me, I am not able to save the vendor in the system. So what I will do, I am going to maintain it optional. If I am having the data, I will fill it up, otherwise I will skip that field. Okay, but in real time, some fields I need to select as a required entry. Otherwise it is end user will not make an entry. Yes, Naveen, tell me. ಹೌದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಂತ ಅವರೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕೆಲವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ. ಕೆಲವು ಈಗ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಫೋನ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೆಂಡರ್ನ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ವಿ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ ಸಮ್ some communication mode, right? So on that time he told or is going to tell that these things will be required, this field should be required entry. So I'll show one blueprint, on that basis you will come to know. Okay, I'll show one blueprint afterwards. Okay, I'll show that. Fine. Next entry or next group. So next group is control. Control here, customer, corporate, tax code, internet address, international location number, fiscal address, all these things. Again, it is all are in optional entry. I'm not going to change anything here. Next group, bank details, vendor's bank details, account number, payee account number, and all these things in again in optional group. Next, contact person, again in optional. So these are the fields which comes under general data. So here only in address group I change to I change one name one as required entry, and all other fields let it be in option entry. Save this. Okay, once you save, it will come to main screen again. There double click on company code data. Then double click on account management. Again in this company code data we are having 4 groups. Double click on account management. There we are having reconciliation account, cash management group, sort key, withholding tax, head office, sort key, everything is there. For my requirement, I am going to select reconciliation account. As I told you, reconciliation account, it will help to reconcile the data with vendors, right? We are having many transactions with vendor. So all transactions will get merged and will get one output. For that purpose, I am going to select reconciliation account as required entry. While creating vendor, end user must and should input the reconciliation account. Okay, must and should, they need to input the reconciliation account. Then cash management group. Cash management group, as I told you, cash management is for bifurcation between domestic and foreign vendor. Domestic and foreign vendor. We are having 3 cash management group. A1 is for domestic. If my vendor comes under or comes in India or inside the India, we can consider as a domestic. Whenever I used to pay the money, that is called as domestic payment. And apart from India, we are having so many vendors with different countries. Then I used to assign A2, that is import payment, and AC, that is one-time payment. There will be different cash management groups. Here I will select cash management group, means on what type of payment we are going to maintain. That's the reason I am going to select these 2 entries as required entry. Remaining thing or remaining fields will be in optional entry. Okay, again click on next group. The next group is payment transaction. Terms of payments we discussed. Then we can block the payment. Blocking, we are not doing anything here. So blocking, we can block the vendor. I'll show why we are blocking, I'll let you know. Then payment method, how we are going to make, whether check payment or bank transfer, cash payment, that will be mentioned here. Then alternative pay account, house bank, these are all in optional entry. If you want, you can change, otherwise let it be in optional entry. But while creating vendor, I will let you know what is all these things. Okay, but here no changes here. Then click on next group. Correspondence dunning, as I told you, dunning we are not going to maintain for vendors. The dunning is for customer only, but we can maintain the dunning for vendor also on the payment. In real time, what will happen now? In real time, vendor payment will done automatically. For reminder, I need to know whether the payment done to vendor or not. For that purpose, we can put the reminder in dunning. But again, I am not going to do any changes here. Next entry, withholding tax. Withholding tax is nothing but TDS. TDS in India, in other country they called as withholding tax. TDS means tax deduction at sources. It's a direct tax. It's a direct kind of tax. Means whenever we are having the sources, on that basis we can deduct the, means government can deduct the taxes. So that we can maintain here, but here we are not going to maintain, or we are not going to work with TDS. Purely it's a financial accounting configurations. I'm not going to do any changes here. Save this. Only two things I changed in account management. These two I took as a required entry. Okay, then come back and double click on purchasing data. Purchasing data, here we are having three groups: purchasing data, partner usage, and additional purchasing data. Double click on purchasing data first, and here again terms of payments, Incoterms, purchase order currency, minimum order value, EBC indicator, goods receipt based invoice verification. These are many fields are there, we will discuss one by one, but here I am going to select purchase order currency as required entry. I am going to select purchase order currency as required entry. I am not going to do any changes here apart from this. Next entry, business partner assignment, this will be in optional entry. Then next group, plant, again these are in optional entry. So I am not going to do much changes in purchasing data, only that currency I changed to required entry. Okay, fine. So one group has been created, RPDV. Okay, come back. If you want to create one more group, come back and click on new entry, and here I'll give RPIV as my second group, and import vendor group for company code RPL. Again, these things need to come here in general data. Double click on general data, double click on address, and select name one as required entry, save. Then double click on company code data, double click on account management, select reconciliation account and cash management group as required entry, and remaining fields let it be in optional entry, save. Then come back and double click on purchasing data, double click on purchasing data again, select order currency as required entry, save. Okay, the second group has been created. Now I'll come back again and I'll create third group. Click on new entry again. I'll give RPOV, one time vendor group. T code is RPL. For this I will select one time account. For this I will select one time account. Again double click on general data, double click on address. I am going to select name one as a required entry, save this. Then double click on company code data, double click on account management, select reconciliation account and cash management group as required entry. Then purchasing data, again purchasing data, select purchase order currency as required entry, save. So totally three groups has been created, right? So RPOV, RPIV and RPDV. While creating the vendor group, I maintained this as this control side, right? This control I did. Sorry. Okay, so according to your requirement or client's requirement, so you can change the settings or you can do the controls. Okay, now create number ranges for vendor accounts. T code is XKN1. As I told you, while creating the vendors, I need to tell from which range it should start, from which range it should start, so that we can do here. So create number ranges for vendor account. T code is XKN1. Then click on change intervals. Then click on insert line or press F6. Then give the numbers. Okay, or I'll give the serial number R1 maybe. Okay, it will be accepted. Okay, I'll come to last part. No, okay, it is not there. R1. Okay, so many number ranges which is created by user. Let me check whether which number is available, that number I should take. But here I cannot give the number according to my choice. which is available in the system, I used to take that one. Okay, let me check with that. 2 1 2 0 2 1 2 9 9. Okay, it is not accepting. Yes. So R1 21 21 00. Now I used to this number I am going to assign to any one of the group. When I used to create the vendor under that particular group, that this number will be get created, or this number will be get taken automatically from system. So as I told you, we are having two types of creations: internal number ranges and external number ranges. If I am going to select this one, what will happen? Then it will be in externally. Means while creating vendors, and if I am going to select this one, what will happen now? While creating vendors, end user need to give the number ranges manually. In between number ranges, they need to. So maximum cases we are going to use internal number ranges. Maximum cases we are going to use internal number ranges. Okay. Save this. Again insert, as we are having 3 groups, so 3 number ranges or 3 things we need to maintain. And here I will give serial number again R2. Okay. Here I will give 3120000, 31299, 3120099. Okay, it is already there. Again, it is already there. Okay, so I have given 2121 100, 2121 199, right? So again insert, I will give R3. As I told you, which number is available in the system, I will take that one, because so many number ranges has been created by users. It is very difficult to find the number ranges. Okay. Okay, so I am giving like this: 3 group, 3 number ranges, and I am maintaining the internal number ranges. I am not going to use external number ranges, because whenever I used to create the vendor, system should take the numbers. I am not able to, or I am not ready to give the numbers manually. So this number has been created. I will save this. Now I will come back. Next one, assign number ranges to vendor account group. T code is OBAS. T code is OBAS. Path same, and here click on position, and here I need to mention my account group. Account group, my account group is RPDV, enter. So these 3 groups I am having here, and for that number ranges I maintained like R1 and R2 and R3. R1, R2 and R3. So these three configuration as a consultant need to maintain. By using this group, end user will create the vendors. So I'll come to easy access, or you can create a new screen here, or else you can go back by clicking back button. You will come this level. Okay, so if I want to create the vendors, go to logistics, materials management, then go with purchasing, go to master data and vendor, purchasing and central. We are having purchasing and central. First we will go with purchasing and MK01. MK01 is to create, MK02 modification, MK03 display, MK04 is changes, MK05 block, MK06 flag for deletion. Okay, I will go with MK01, create button, double click on that, and here vendor column, purchase organization and account group is there. So vendor column leave blank because we mentioned the number ranges, system will take that number ranges automatically, so no need to input anything here. So purchase organization, at the time of enterprise structure we created the purchase organization that we can assign here. So if you know the things, you can type here, otherwise just click on this button or press F4, we'll get drop down. From that drop down we can select the purchase organization. PPO, I think. Yes, this is my purchase organization, and account group RP. First I'll create vendors under domestic group. And here if you're having any vendors you are going to copy from any purchase organization, you can copy it here, but I'm not having any vendors, so I'm not going to input anything in this columns or in these fields. Enter. Okay, title means Mr., Miss, company, like that. Company, doctor, Mr., Mrs., anything you can give. So Mr. I'll give. See here, at the time of group creation, I mentioned name one as required entity. So I can able to see this tick mark here, right? If I'm going to click on save button, so what will happen? System will throw an error like fill in all required entry fields. Without filling this, I cannot proceed. Without filling this, I cannot proceed. System will not allow me to save the data. So I need to mention the name of my vendor, because in our back screen or in the configurations level, I mentioned or I selected name one as a required entity. So it is very much required to input the data, otherwise system will not allow me to save the vendor masters. Okay, so name I'll give Murthy, MG Road, postal code Bangalore, country India, region 18. 18 stands for Karnataka. Okay. So if you want to maintain the communication like telephone number, mobile number, fax and all these things, you can maintain here, or other communication if there, you can go with and add here. Okay, I'm not going to fill anything here. just press enter. It will come to another screen like this. There, if you want to maintain the tax code, VAT or GST number, you can mention here, or withholding tax or TDS. Okay, so you can maintain here. Okay, I'm not going to input anything here. Press enter. Okay, so contact person. So what is meant by contact person? If you are creating a vendor in the name of company, then you need to tell your system that who is going to, or who is the contact person in that particular company. So which department, say which department he is located, and what is the function of that person. Say example, here I will give Narayana and Narayan Murthy, like this. Which department he is into, a managing director. Then function, what kind of functions he have, is in executive board. Like that, I need to mention the contact person name. Press enter, it will come to next level. There I need to mention the currency. Terms of payments, as of now we not maintain any terms of payments, right? So what I'll do, I'm going to use this one, payable immediately due date. Incoterms, as I told you, there is a standard Incoterms is there, we can use that one. Again press F4 here. We are having so many Incoterms is there, we'll use that one. Say example, I'll take CFR, and location Bangalore, I'll give Bangalore. And if you want to maintain the minimum order value, mention here, and we'll discuss all these things later. Schema group, it is for pricing procedure. Contact person, telephone number, salesperson, everything you can maintain it, and these are the things we will discuss later. Now I am going to save this entry. See here, this is my number ranges which I configured in backend. You can go with IMG level. If you go with IMG level, SPRO, with financial accounting, account receivable and accounts payable, business transaction, sorry, not business, vendor account, master data, preparations, and if you go with create number ranges, then intervals, change intervals. I assigned R1 for my first group, right? R1 for my first group. If you come here, if you check R1, see here. Now this has been created. Now this has been turned, we cannot change to external. Once we created the vendor, after that we cannot change to internal or external to internal like that. So this number automatically pick up because it's a practice system. The system numbers will be, it should not come like this, but in real time, one by one it will be get added. Okay, save this. Okay, this is where I can create the vendors under MK01. Okay, reconnect, we'll discuss further. So like that we can create the vendors in MK01. Next we'll come to, we'll minimize this purchasing and go to central. So T code is XK01, double click on that, and here one more thing is get added here, like I need to mention company code here. In our previous means in MK01 there is no company code, right? So that's the reason we cannot see the company code data there. We can't see the company code data there. Only the vendor details we input and purchasing data we maintain, right? But no company code data because we not maintain company code there. But here in XK01 I need to mention the company code, and again vendor column leave blank here. Company code I'll give RPL. Press enter. Again I am not having any references, so I am not going to maintain anything here. Press enter. And here again title company, doctor, Mr., anything you can add. I'll take company, and here I'm going to mention the company as Ultratech Cement Company. MG Road, city Bangalore, then country India, region 18. Enter. It will come to this level, tax, where I can maintain the tax numbers, VAT number, like that. Withholding tax also we can maintain here, but I am not going to do any, or I am not going to input anything here. Press enter, and this is bank details of the company. We can maintain the bank country, like country means IN. This company bank is having with India. Bank key, press F4. Bank keys are there in the system, we can use that one. Okay, then account number, if you are having the account number you can mention here. Account holder name Ultratech. Okay, if you are having any alternative payee you can add here, and you can mention the permitted payee. Sometimes what will happen now, in company they won't receive the payment to this name. They are having some other bank name, that's the reason they don't want to receive the payment to this account number or holder name. And that time we can maintain alternative payee. So I am maintaining one payee. Press enter. Okay, contact person. So Ultratech is a company. If I go to that company, whom should I meet? That should I mention here. So I will need to Jagdish Rao. Now which department he is working for? So I am mentioning managing director, or any other function or other department also you can select. Then head of purchasing or executive board. Like that I can maintain a number of contact person here. Once you are done with the once you are done with the entry, just press enter. We come to next level, and here I took two fields as required entry, like reconciliation account and cash management group. I took as a required entry, so you can see the tick mark here, right? If I am going to click on save button, what will happen? It will throw an error. It will throw an error. So I need to assign reconciliation account here, but I didn't created any reconciliation account, but we copied the reconciliation account or global parameter from standard company code, right? So I'll go with such option, and here I'm having many ledgers. These are the ledgers which copied from standard company code. What I'll do, I'm going to select this one 160000, as I'm creating vendor under domestic group, right? So I'm going to select 160000 as my reconciliation account. Okay, then cash management group, A1 domestic payment, sorry, A1, and rest of things I don't require to input. If I enter next, okay, one minute, currency. Okay, so I'll come to this level. After this, press enter. Then it will ask for payment terms. Payment terms, as of now we not maintained any payment terms. I will go with 0001. Tolerance group also I discussed, but tolerance group I not created. That will be created by finance department. I am not going to input anything here. Then payment method, how you are going to make the payment to your vendor. In India, we are having three types of payment. One is check payment, bank transfer, and cash payment. So what I will do, I will going to select these two options: check and transfer. Sorry, check and transfer. Okay, C and T, both we can select C and T here. Payment block. What is the reason for payment block? If you click on this button, we are having options like this, like we can block for payment, we can block for payment, fraud management, IP, payment request, invoice verification. Usually we are going to use these two options, A or B. What is the purpose of blocking the payment? Say at the time of purchase, or first we will discuss the purchase process. We will discuss the purchase process. So whenever we require any material, what we do? We are going to ask for, or we are going to inquire, right? Inquire for that particular material, inquiry. So once you inquired with that particular material, vendor is going to send the quotation, right? After the quotation, if my that quotation is okay for me, what I'll do? I'm going to place an order. And after receipt of that order, vendor is going to deliver the goods and goods receipt. So this is what we call as purchase process, right? So at the time of if I go with the block option, at the time of inquiry or after inquiry, what vendor is telling, so I inquire for 100 quantity of raw material. Assume that I am looking for 100 quantity of raw material. For this 100 quantity, vendor has quoted 1000 rupees per piece. 1000 rupees per piece. So total value will be 1 lakh, right? 1 lakh. So I am okay with that price. So what I did, I ordered for the material. I ordered for material, placed an order, right? So after that, vendor is going to deliver the goods. We are going to receive the material from vendor. And after that, after receipt of material, vendor what he is going to do, he is going to raise the bill, or called as invoice. Raise the bill. But at the time of invoice, vendor has mentioned the price as 1050. At the time of quotation, he mentioned 1000 rupees per piece, but here, so he is going to mention 1050 per piece. So if I am going to purchase 100 quantity with 1050, 1500 rupees is my invoice amount, but at the time of quotation, he quoted for 1 lakh rupees, right, or 1000 rupees per piece. I need to check these kind of things. I need to check, right? That's the reason we can block we can have the option to block. As I told you in our previous class, automatic vendor payment will be done through automatically. That's the reason we need to check. If I am going to block this vendor, what will happen? The payment will not happen. The payment will not happen to that particular vendor. On the time he will ask, what is the reason for stop payment? So then we can come here, we can overview all these things. We can verify this. If it is okay, then we'll release the payment. If it is okay, we'll release the payment, or else we can tell our vendor that this much is the differences at the time of quotation, at the time of bill. Okay, so that is what we called as option is there. Alternative payee we mentioned. House bank, from which bank we are maintaining the payment. We can add banks here. As for our company code, ICICI Bank is copied. We'll use that one. Okay, individual payment. Individual payment means sometimes we created vendors in the individual. In previous step in MK01 we created individual vendors, right? Individual means individual person. Individual vendor, this is for company, and individual payment, if having any payment for a person, then we need to select. Then bill of exchange. Bill of exchange in 10-15 years back, we were using this option. Bill of exchange means having the bills. If I am going to present that bill to my bank, they will give they will convert that bill into money. We will get the payment. Okay, these are some important things we are going to see in payment transaction accounting. Press enter. Then dunning procedure, as I told you, dunning we are not going to maintain. We are not going to maintain dunning. So I am not going to input anything here. Press enter. And order currency, this is purchasing data. Order currency, INR. Then terms of payments. As of now, we not maintain any terms of payments. I will use 0001. Income terms, I will take CFR, and this is my location. Enter. Partner functions we will discuss later. Enter. Save this. See, this is my vendor number. Okay, like that we can do, or we can add some more vendors in different groups. Like we are having 3 groups. Okay, like that I will create vendors in different group tomorrow. I will show. And if you want to modify anything in that particular vendor, you can go with XK02. Want to see the vendor details, go with XK03, and in XK04, changes done in this level, you can see, come and see here. Means what are the changes who did, on what time they did, we can see here. You can block the vendor. Block means for that vendor we cannot use further, and later we can unblock also. Then flag for deletion. Flag for deletion means from if I am going to select that particular vendor for flag for deletion, that vendor will be get deleted permanently from our database. We are having 2 options, either we can block or we can use delete. But real time we are having delete. We can delete the vendors, but usually what we do, we are not going to delete any vendor master data. And if you want to change the account group, XK07 is there. There you can go and you can change the account group. Some mistakenly you created a vendor in some other group, you want to change, then go with this option. Fine. Further we will discuss, or some more information we will discuss tomorrow. Right now I will stop here today. We will continue the class tomorrow. Okay, then bye. Good night.